The front door stood wide open. The neighbors had called the police after no one had seen the Harris family for 3 days, but what they found inside didn't feel like a crime scene. It felt like something worse. The dinner table was still set with 4 plates, as if the family had been about to eat. Glasses of water sat half full, a pot of stew still on the stove, spoiled now but untouched. Chairs had been pulled out, one knocked over. There were no signs of struggle, no broken glass, no blood. Just emptiness. Officer Miller stepped into the living room, shining his flashlight across the walls. Family portraits still hung neatly. Shoes were scattered at the door. Upstairs, beds were unmade, toys scattered across the kids' room floor. And yet, no voices, no footsteps, no life. That was when Miller heard it, the sound of footsteps upstairs. Slow, heavy. He pointed his light toward the staircase. "Hello," he called out. No answer. The creak came again, as though someone had just stepped across the landing. He raised his gun, motioning for his partner to cover the back door. Heart pounding, he climbed the stairs one step at a time. The sound grew louder, closer. He aimed his flashlight into the hallway at the top. The beam landed on a single door. It was moving, just slightly, like someone had pushed it and let it swing shut. Miller pushed it open. The children's room was empty. 2 small beds, a doll on the carpet. But on the wall, scratched into the paint, were words no one could explain. "We didn't leave." His blood ran cold. Behind him, the sound of running footsteps thundered down the hallway. He spun around. No one was there. And then the lights in the house went out. Rewind. The Harris family, Michael, his wife Anna, and their 2 kids, Emily, 10, and Jack, 7, moved into the house on Raven Road 6 months before. Locals said the place had a history. Old, creaking floors, a yard that never grew grass, and whispers of strange noises at night. But the Harrises were city people looking for quiet. They brushed off the warnings. Neighbors soon noticed odd things. The family stopped coming to community events. Anna was seen standing at the upstairs window at odd hours, staring blankly. Emily once told another kid at school that she heard voices in the vents. The boy laughed, but she didn't. By the end of October, no one saw them at all. The mailbox filled with letters. Deliveries piled up on the porch. A neighbor went to knock, swore they heard movement inside, but no one answered. That's when police were called. Back at the house, Officer Miller and his partner crept through the darkness with flashlights. Every corner of the house felt wrong. The air was heavy, damp, almost choking. They searched the kitchen, the dining room, the basement. Nothing. Then, they opened the master bedroom. On the bed lay 4 sets of clothes, shirt, pants, socks, folded neatly, side by side. But not like laundry. Like uniforms laid out. The kind of thing a parent might do before a school day. Except these weren't clean. They were the clothes the family had been wearing the night they vanished. And beneath each pile of clothes was something darker. Each set sat on top of a perfect black handprint burned into the sheets. Miller's partner whispered, "What the hell is this?" Before Miller could answer, the bedroom closet door began to rattle. Soft at first, then louder, shaking violently as though someone, or something, was trapped inside. Miller slowly raised his gun. His partner reached for the handle. The rattling stopped. For a long, awful silence, nothing moved. And then, from inside the closet, a child's voice whispered, "We didn't leave." The handle began to turn from the inside. The closet handle twisted slowly, deliberately, as if whoever, or whatever, was inside wanted the officers to know it was about to step out. Officer Miller froze, his gun trained on the door. His partner whispered, "Don't open it. Don't." The door swung wide on its own. The flashlight beams cut into the darkness of the closet. Empty. No clothes, no boxes, nothing but bare wooden walls. But the officers swore they saw movement, shadows writhing along the corners, bending like smoke. Then came the whisper again, this time clearer, layered with 4 distinct voices. 2 adult, 2 child. "We didn't leave." A blast of cold air rushed out of the closet, extinguishing Miller's flashlight. The house groaned, like its very frame was shifting. His partner cursed, smacking the flashlight until it flickered back on. For just a split second in the beam, Miller saw them. 4 pale faces staring back from the closet, eyes black, mouths open as if screaming. But when the light steadied, the closet was empty again. The men bolted from the room, hearts hammering. They ran down the stairs toward the front door, but the house had changed. The staircase no longer ended at the living room. It emptied into a long, narrow hallway lined with dozens of closed doors, stretching far beyond the size of the house. "This isn't real," Miller muttered, but his partner grabbed his arm. "Don't stop. Keep moving." The hallway doors rattled as they passed, one after another, something pounding from the other side. First a low thump, then louder, until it sounded like an army of fists slamming to be let out. They reached the end of the hallway, another door, this one painted black. With no choice, they pushed it open. On the other side was the dining room again. Same table, same half-eaten meal, same 4 chairs. Except this time, the family was there. Michael, Anna, Emily, and Jack sat at the table. Their skin was waxy and gray, eyes blank and glassy. They weren't breathing. They weren't eating. They just stared straight ahead, frozen in the positions they'd been in when they vanished. Then, in perfect unison, their heads turned toward the officers. Mouths opened, and in a chorus of voices that rattled the walls, they whispered, "We didn't leave." The walls began to bleed. Dark streaks ran down the wallpaper, dripping onto the floor. The house shook, lights flickered, plates shattered. Miller screamed for his partner to run. They charged for the door, but when they threw it open, it no longer led to Raven Road. Instead, it opened into blackness, an endless void. Behind them, the Harris family rose from the table. Their bodies jerked, moving unnaturally, like puppets yanked on invisible strings. Emily's small voice pierced the air. "Stay with us. Forever." Miller's partner leapt through the doorway into the void, disappearing instantly. Miller stumbled back, slamming the door shut, gasping for breath. He ran through the house, searching for any exit, but every door opened to somewhere wrong. More hallways, more closets, more shadows. Finally, he reached a window in the living room. He smashed it with his gun, shattering the glass. Cold air rushed in. For the first time, he saw Raven Road outside. He climbed onto the sill, ready to jump, and froze. Reflected in the glass was the Harris family, standing right behind him. But when he turned, no one was there. Just the empty living room. He jumped, landed hard on the grass outside, rolled to his feet. The house stood quiet and dark, looking perfectly normal. His partner was gone. His radio buzzed static. When backup finally arrived, Miller tried to explain, but the house looked untouched. They searched every room. No black handprints. No clothes on the bed. No voices. And most horrifying of all, Miller himself was the only officer on duty that night. No one could find records of his partner ever existing. The case of the Harris family remains unsolved. The official report still lists them as missing persons. But locals say, if you drive past Raven Road late at night, you'll sometimes see 4 figures standing in the upstairs window. And if you get too close, you'll hear it too. We didn't leave. Weeks passed after the incident. Officer Miller couldn't sleep. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw Emily's pale face whispering, "Stay with us." Forever. His superiors thought he had lost his mind. Some claimed he was making excuses for freezing during a simple missing persons case. Others whispered that Miller was cursed, touched by something inside that house. But Miller knew what he saw. And worst of all, he knew his partner was real. He remembered his name, Officer Daniels. But when he tried to search the records, every file, every mention of Daniels was gone, as if he had never existed. One night, Miller drove back to Raven Road. The house stood silent, its windows dark. But the moment he stepped onto the grass, the upstairs light flickered on by itself. Someone, or something, was waiting for him. He went inside. The air was freezing, far colder than outside. His breath fogged up instantly. He moved slowly through the rooms, flashlight shaking. Everything looked normal, dusty furniture, broken chairs, peeling wallpaper. But then he noticed something new. On the dining table sat 5 plates. Not 4, 5. And on the 5th plate was Miller's police badge. A low laugh echoed through the room. He spun around, gun raised, but no one was there. The laugh came again, this time layered with multiple voices, the same whisper he had heard before. "You brought him here. He belongs to us now." Miller's blood ran cold. They were talking about Daniels. He stumbled back, and the walls shifted again, melting into darkness. Doors appeared where there hadn't been any. The house was alive, rearranging itself like a maze. And at the end of the hallway, Miller saw him, Officer Daniels. His partner stood in the shadows, but his face was wrong. His eyes were black voids, his mouth stretched into a grin far too wide for a human face. "Miller," Daniels croaked, voice distorted. "Don't leave me again." The floor cracked under Miller's boots. Black liquid oozed upward, spreading across the wood like veins. The sound of children laughing echoed from the upstairs hall. Miller tried to run, but every door he opened led him back to the dining room. And each time he returned, another family member appeared at the table. First Michael, then Anna, then Emily, then Jack. Finally, Daniel sat down beside them, grinning. There was only one empty chair left, and it was waiting for Miller.